This is Morten from INKISH. We are here at a wonderful booth at DURST, still at Labelexpo in Brussels. And Christoph, good to see you.
Hi Morten, good to see you again.
Every time I come to a trade show, of course I see DURST. It also seems that every time I come to a trade show, it seems that you are trying to reinvent yourself, different booths, getting a little bit more, because if you look at the Labelexpo in America, your booths were totally different from here, right? So how important is a trade show for you?
Well, I think first of all, Labelexpo Americas and Labelexpo Europe are two different things. Labelexpo America is a little bit smaller. Europe, in this case, is really the important trade show. We have all the important partners here. I don't think we reinvent ourselves every time on a trade show, but we just keep the business running. As we're saying right now, we help you to keep the business running. And to keep the business running, you have to extend solution portfolios around it. This is probably why we're growing a little bit.
See, you got me there because probably I just expressed myself. When I talked about reinventing yourself, it's basically, you took it as a negative word. I took it as a positive because you position yourself as something that is always interesting to come and see. Both because you use your own technology to build the booth, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that is like, it is like showcasing what you actually do, right?
Yes. Well, even more on large format shows, on our shows, but on label, but as well, yeah, obviously the booth is always built, or I say, the print is always done with our own printers or people we work with. That's true.
So,
sorry.
One thing is, of course, the trade show in itself and the frame it creates. Is it still, I think a lot of people were like a little bit hesitant after the COVID, what is the next thing? And you also had the DURST Expo in your own headquarters last time because it was canceled last minute kind of thing, right? So how is it to be back for a company like yours?
I have very mixed feelings about trade shows, especially about this one. It's a great platform to connect with customers. I wouldn't say it's the possible best organization you can do. It was very hot yesterday and even here, but that's not up to me. I heard it's going to switch to Barcelona in 2 years. But let's go back on the importance of trade shows. During COVID or after COVID, we started to do more and more open houses, digital and real, and well, now we do both. So I think every chance we have to be in contact with a customer for us is a chance to not only sell, but to really showcase our solutions. From this side, a trade show is a good thing because we meet customers.
But you actually touch on why I'm asking this. It's just because, you say exactly, you need to know, you need to be where your customers are, and you need to use any platform you can to basically have that communication with your customers, right? So that is like why we have these kind of events, right?
Yeah, I think so. Plus, where do I have the chance to meet so many customers in one place? Yeah. I would have to fly around the world the whole year. I'm already in a plane a lot, but so no, for me it's a good compromise. Plus the own team. You get your own team together, your customers together. I don't really, I wouldn't say I'm indifferent if it's an open house or a trade show. Both are good and we will continue to do both. And if we have important topics to show, obviously we're going to show it to the world. And a little bit, when you're competing with other companies and they're here, you kind of need to be here because the industry is here.
And I take that you feel, I remember when I spoke to you in your headquarters, you said that you always, when you select a new category of products that you want to invest in, you want to be in the upper class, right? So it's always like creating the best products and the best services, also in a competitive field. So when you go to a show like this, do you have time to go and see competitors as well, or is it,
Definitely. I try to help to keep on track what competitors are doing. Shows like this, yes, I make my round, but usually I know before the show what's going on. I would be very late
I would be so disappointed if you weren't, right?
No, but listen, I think, here you can, on a drupa you test things. Yeah. And you see, okay, you promise or you say this will happen or will not happen. Labelexpo is different. Here you implement things, you show implementations, and from here you go for the next 2 years.
So that is definitely one of the big differences between, for example, drupa and a show like this, because here it is like products that needs to go to work tomorrow, basically, right?
This is a sales show.
Yeah.
This is basically really where you do.
So your judgment of whether it was worth have this is both the branding, of course, but also the actual output of being here.
It's really the leads.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I mean, you don't close 2 million deals on a show, but the leads here are really, really important. And we see more and more people we wouldn't have a chance to see in other places. So.
In the label space and the flexible packaging space, I think that I've been here for 2 days now, and when I go around, it seems there's a lot of competition, and it seems that it's pushing the boundaries of speed, it's pushing the boundaries of quality. And from a manufacturer's perspective, how difficult is it to keep developing and pushing the boundary of what you can do and offer customers?
I think even in label, like in other places, the technology is out of the baby shoes. So we're entering a stage where you go into full production technology. Still, there is some hesitation with digital, and rightly so, that it's not fit for everything, and it's independent if it's inkjet, it's indigo, whatever. But the solutions go closer and closer and closer. And if you see our integration with OMED, like the XJet, so this is where you can see where the future is going to happen.
And that is just like one example, because that leads me to one of the things I like about your company as well is also that you seem to have, in one way you do things the way you want to do that. But on the other hand, you're very open to partnerships. You have on the commercial side, you have a Koenig & Bauer, where you have with OMED, as you mentioned, you have with a lot of different companies in the industry. How important is the partnerships?
Well, I believe if you really want to do the best thing, you have to at least try to go from the customer perspective. And if I see an XJet integration or a future KJet integration, if I part from the customer's perspective, I do the right thing. Obviously, you can do a lot of islands, but then you have to build a lot of bridges, and a lot of bridges have a lot of risk. If there's a storm coming, if this coming, and this coming. If I really want to go production technology, I have to give the possibility that you have a smooth sailing through. That's what we're trying to do. We're not always 100% successful, but partnerships definitely are one thing I strongly believe in, I firmly believe in. And if you're a private company like us, more than 80 years in the business, the foundation is partnership.
And I mean, I think you were underplaying your own role a little bit, because I think that if you look at DURST, it is a quite successful company on almost every segment you touch, right?
Well, we try to.
You try to. Okay, so you still believe there's a room for improvement, or?
There's always room for improvement. I mean, it's constant improvement. You see here a Hawkeye. You could be happy with a standard digital engine, but that's just a story. 7 years ago, I think it was 7 years ago, I founded a little company in New York which was doing nothing else than imaging, 3D imaging, then AI, then deep learning algorithm. This is one of the results. That's just one of the 10 applications, but this is not a little company anymore. These are 25 people dedicated to AI and deep learning. More deep learning than AI, but AI sounds better, everyone understands it. But this is nothing else. And so, yes, you always can constantly improve.
So that is also like, because I know that you also have a venture part of your company. So that is basically finding the right potentials that can support the main business, but also be like independent businesses that can have their own life. This is an example, right?
They absolutely have their own life. And we have other partners in this venture, but it does other things. We produced right now and delivered the first 3 systems for Adidas for virtual try-on. But it has nothing to do it has something to do with what I did in New York, but it doesn't have to do with printing.
Yeah, that's amazing. So basically, it seems that, to me, it seems that DURST continues to be in the right spot in the market. So are you still growing as a company, or?
Last year, we grew a lot as a company, really a lot, and that sometimes this extreme growth hurts. Everyone knows this. If you're over a 2-digit growth, you need to grow your organization. Yeah. We're still growing, but right now I would prefer to slow it down a little bit. Unfortunately, it's not happening, but we're going to see.
I mean, that is not the worst problem to solve, right?
It is solvable.
Fantastic.